About the genesis of the project. The film is one, I understand, that was based upon a biography. Is it something you found?
The film is inspired by and based on the book The Invisible Woman by Claire Tomlin. It was developed with BBC Films and Headline Pictures and with Abby Morgan, the screenwriter who you'll know from films like Shame and The Iron Lady. And I was lucky that, thanks to the BBC and Gabby Tanner, I was offered to direct the film, possibly to star in it. But I was ignorant about Dickens. I'd only read one Dickens book in my life, Little Dorrit. I'd liked it, but I hadn't read any more. And then I was completely struck with Abby's screenplay and subsequently Claire Tomlin's book. So from then on, I was in.
Any questions from the audience? And it's hard to see, so... The lady right here in the front.
The lady's asking, those poor and sick children on the street, were they the children of prostitutes? No, the scene I think you're referring to, these were young ladies who are ladies of the street, women who have been forced into prostitution. The children that you see are possibly their children. I mean, Dickens walked through London at night many, many times from a young man. He was obsessed with walking, he was obsessed and profoundly curious about the nightlife of London and the extreme conditions of appalling poverty that existed in London then. So that sequence is really to show that curiosity of Dickens. So really it's a sort of slum street with people from children, women, crying babies, people who are lost and people who have nothing.
One second. Yes, the lady over there, okay.
I'm curious about the editing. It was superb. So I wonder how much you had to do with the editing or your choice of editors, because that just was so superb throughout the whole film. The different angles. You see the same shot from the reverse angle. I mean, it was so clever, and it really, helped.
The lady has been very complimentary about the editing of the and then I wish he was here, because the editor of this film, Nicholas Gaster, has taught me so much, and I hope will continue to teach me about editing and life. He's a great editor, and the bond and the friendship that I've formed with him have been a fantastic gift to me. So I looked at the film and I see amazing editing choices that are Nick's, and the credit goes to him. Maybe a question for Felicity or Gavin.
There was a question right here.
To what? It sounds like another compliment. I think she's saying it'll be difficult to go back to another life after making this.
I think you're speaking about being a director and actor at the same time, correct?
Are you saying it's going to be difficult for me to be an actor again?
This is your second film you've directed, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we have short of time, and I have two extraordinary women who are instrumental in making this happen. So now, please, will someone ask a question to one of these ladies?
The lady over here has a question for Flora.
I wanted to know how Felicity came to the project, and if you were a Dickens fan or if that was
The question was, how did Felicity come to the project?
I came to the project through, I was sent the script and read the script and thought there was a phenomenal director attached who wouldn't cease to bully me into a pretty decent performance. And then I read Claire Tomlin's book, The Invisible Woman, which is absolutely incredible, and I just there was something about Nellie, and it was her seriousness, and it's so rare as an actress that you get to play someone who, especially a female character, who doesn't give themselves up easily. You know, she has an incredibly iron will, and I just became from reading Claire's book mildly obsessed with her, and it went from there really.
The gentleman over here, please.
Another question for Ms. Jones. Curious about the relationship between you and Ray from actor and director. What it was like for you to work with him on those two films.
The question the gentleman is asking is about the relationship as an actress and director that Felicity and Rafe had on set.
Well, a lot of the time it was like being directed by Charles Dickens. So it would be really strange because Rafe would be sort of like dancing behind the camera in a wig and top hat and waistcoat and giving me commands. So I quickly got used to Rafe just being Dickens throughout the whole movie. Even at lunch, he was Dickens, just like all the time. I think it felt like a very collaborative process. We argued a lot, but Rafe, I have to compare it to bullying, basically. He just, but kind of kind bullying, because it's for a good end. It was just, I have never had that before, where someone just keeps pushing you, and and everyone in the cast. I mean, all the performances. It's amazing to watch Joanna and Kristen and the truthfulness that he got from us.
Yes, you have a question over here. So the young lady's asking about the title, The Invisible Woman, and how she sees that there are two invisible women within the film. There's the character of Nellie and the character of Dickens' wife. So she wanted to ask each of the people on stage who they saw as the invisible woman.
Well, actually, I think there are, and if you think about it, Wilkie Collins' love interest is also an invisible woman. So I think it's about invisible women at that time. Which is fascinating. And to be an actress actually was one of the only ways to be visible at that time.
I think the title of the book refers is clearly Ellen Turner, because she was not no one. I mean, there was whisperings about the relationship with Dickens, but then he blanked it. There was a veil of secrecy that they both maintained until Nellie's death. No one really knew about it except perhaps Dickens's children, very, very close friends, Dickens's solicitor, publisher. So it's taken a long time for this story to come to the fore. Catherine Dickens was, I know what you mean when you say she's invisible, but she was the publicly acknowledged wife of Dickens. What was tragic about her is that he almost tried to make her invisible after he separated from her. And barely corresponded with her, didn't want his children to see her. So what is especially tragic about Mrs. Dickens is the way Dickens wanted her, almost forced her into the darkness when he had left her.
I think we have time for one more question. Yes, up there.
This is because you said that Nellie was the love of his life, but yet it seems that you have on screen seem sort of very subtle, like their love sings together, seem not like really passionate, but you know what I mean?
I think, yes, I think you're saying you felt the love scenes are probably restrained, and I... Sorry? No, I think... I mean, I think the challenge is when you do lovers and love scenes. I mean, what I wanted to explore with Felicity and was the sort of trigger point of intimacy, the sort of the feeling in the room between two people. I was less interested in showing sort of thrashing limbs and sort of. I really wanted.
Maybe one more. Do we have somebody? Yes, the lady over here.
The lady's asking what was my favourite scene in the film. I think there are three high points while watching the film. The scene where Dickens and Nellie count the money and there's a conversation between them. And I love this scene. Abby wrote this scene, and when I first read it, it really felt like what happens when two people left alone start to ask each other about each other. And I'm very proud of the scene when I see it. I think that I feel, and of course it's very subjective, but I feel there is this delicacy of discovery between them. That scene, the scene with Catherine Dickens bringing the bracelet to Nellie, I think Joanna Scanlon is extraordinary as Mrs. Dickens. And finally, the scene at the end, which is, I suppose, is a sort of catharsis for Nellie, finally opening up to the Reverend Benham in the graveyard. And it was very hard to find a graveyard that didn't have aeroplanes going over it. But on the day, I witnessed the extraordinary thing that Felicity did. I had many, many close-ups to choose from, where this feeling of a woman starting to give utterance about the thing that she's held within her for all her life up until that point. And I feel every time I see it, I'm moved by what Felicity did in that scene.
Ladies and gentlemen,